Captain's log, stardate 2017.114. Everything is Star Trek Bridge Crew is a game for 4 players where you take control of a Federation starship and navigate through the majestic void of space. We played it fairly recently. I took on the role of captain, and with me today are Lauren O'Callaghan, who had the helm.
Hello.
Leon Hurley, who was our tactical officer.
Hello.
And our engineer, Alex, is sadly AWOL, which is in keeping with the whole theme of the experience, because it's fair to say pretty much everything went wrong. We'll start with literally the first thing that happened. Now, I mean, this is probably my fault.
Probably.
Well, you were the only person with access to the button.
Yeah.
Okay, so the important thing you need to know is that the buttons, if you're captain, are very close together. And you're using 2 move controllers to sort of essentially move your hands around and press the buttons. And the first thing you have to do as captain is answer a hail. And the answer hail button is right next to the red alert button. So we immediately went to red alert while we were sort of docked at a space station.
That doesn't sound good.
I thought it was great because I thought, like, oh my god, that big action start. You know, the Klingons attacking. This is how the game's going to begin. And then you just heard this very English. Sorry.
I thought you were being serious when you said, "Oh, I was just checking that was working." I was like, "Okay, that makes sense. Maybe I should check my buttons are working." And then I realised that you were just trying to cover for this mistake.
But I mean, it's maybe fair to say that wasn't the worst thing that happened.
Yeah, nothing was on fire at that point. So
at that point, a crucial part of that sentence. So I mean, it's maybe worth trying to get your head around how it all works. So in our situation, I was giving tasks to each of you to make them happen, but it quite cleverly splits everything up. So you were in control of the ship, Lauren, but not in control of how fast it went.
Yeah, so that took us ages to work out. Like I was on helm, so I was obviously steering the ship and couldn't work out why we couldn't move that fast. And I remember you saying like, can we go a bit faster, Lauren? Can we go a bit faster?
I mean, we were going about the speed of a mobility scooter.
Yeah, and I couldn't work out why we weren't going faster until we realised that the engines hadn't been charged by Alex, who was in engineering. So that's why we were crawling along at a snail's pace. And you all blamed me. And was like, Lauren, we're not going fast enough. And it was Alex's fault.
Okay, one of the things that was definitely your fault, Lauren, was flying us into a meteor. Can you talk us through how that happened?
Okay.
And a couple of mines, and that enormous space wreck that we just ended up pressed against like a blind dog that got lost in a house.
In my defence, there was a lot of stuff in that sky. There were mines, there were asteroids, there were other ships, there were other crash ships, there were planets.
I mean, it is space, it's infinite.
At no point did you say, don't crash into that asteroid. So, I was just following orders.
Speaking of following orders, moving on to one of our other disasters. I mean, this wasn't that much of a disaster, except for the fact you may have started an intergalactic war.
You might have slightly started a war, yeah. Well, I'm pretty sure I thought I heard you say shoot the Klingons, but I may have made that up. Or wanted to hear it so much that I just kind of imagined it.
I think we hadn't
I
shot
had the guns.
I
I hadn't been allowed to shoot anything for ages.
Is that what you're going to say in your court-martial?
And this is another cool thing about how the game works, is that I think the engineer is responsible for charging the weapons, and then you're the one that actually makes them go.
Yeah.
It works in the same way with the shields.
So I had shields, torpedoes, phasers and scanning, so like we kept losing shields, so we were at one point having to shout at Alex to like reroute the power to get the shields back up. Like it's
and
really
you couldn't
nice.
Scan if we weren't close enough to certain things, so then I had to move. Like it's very much about teamwork.
Yeah,
we definitely didn't fail that aspect of the game.
No,
well, it was a Kobayashi Maru. It's literally the famous unwinnable situation that they use in testing that Kirk only succeeded by hacking the test and cheating.
I mean, like. We failed at the Kobayashi Maru, obviously. We saved 14 people, was it? I think we were.
I mean, 14 is not nothing.
But you can
14
only fail.
lives.
If you looked at the bullet points at the end, you had like don't engage the Klingons, but rescue the people, and so you basically fail at both automatically. There's no way of passing that.
And how many people could you transport at one time?
6.
So there were over 300 people that needed saving,
right?
And
we
6 at a time.
6 at a time.
And it takes about a couple of minutes to recharge the.
Yeah.
So we saved
some people.
Yeah, I mean that wasn't a total disaster. Some people were saved, but I mean, that was one of the things you were set up to fail. But generally, I think we failed at a lot of things we perhaps shouldn't have. But it's quite a difficult game, I think, in places.
It's going to be an interesting exercise in teamwork and
communication. Yeah, because you don't realise until you've been doing it for a little while that if you don't actually say out loud, like, yes, Captain, I heard you, and now I'm going to try and do that. Yeah. You don't really know that.
That brings us on to one final failure, I think, that we didn't mention.
Which one?
Was that that Leon's microphone was turned off for
Oh,
the
God,
first
yeah.
few missions.
That wasn't my fault, though.
That was so... It's like I could not hear Leon at all. I could see your character, like, waving,
Yeah.
but I couldn't hear what you were
Dancing,
saying.
God, yeah, the dancing, like sitting around the table and dancing. You get your VR characters. But yeah, that was entirely Ubisoft's fault. I'm going to state that clearly. They set up the headset and didn't tell me that my mic wasn't on. And we were in a one room, so I could I thought you could hear me. You were reacting sometimes, but
Yeah.
essentially I was the silent mute.
That pretty much
Tactical.
explains everything.
Yeah.
I think. So there you have it. That's 5 things and one bonus thing that went wrong while we were playing Star Trek Brishku, which is really, really good fun.
Yeah.
And like a particularly good game, I think, to play with a group of friends. Let us know in the comments below which role you'd like to take on, whether you're a captain or an engineer, or if you'd be at the helm and doing a better job than Lauren.
Hey!
And please click the boxes on the left for more content from us. And don't forget to hit that big button in the middle for more gaming news, reviews, previews and features right here on GamesRadar Plus.